welcome back to our channel. So right now we're staying at a BLM land in Arizona near Tucson, and it's a really beautiful camping spot. And we wanted to share more with you about what it's like to stay at BLM land and how it's different than staying in the city. So the roads leading to BLM campsites are often dirt, gravel roads. They're washboard roads, so it can be challenging to drive on them. And if it's crowded, you might have to search for your own spot. So this particular spot had a big dip coming in, so it made it pretty challenging to get to.
So when camping at a BLM land, you really have to look at your surroundings. For example, this is a place where water obviously has ran through, and as you can see, if we stayed here when it's raining, we would definitely have problems because obviously the soil will get softer and it would make it a lot harder for us to get in and out, and we might even get stuck here. So definitely keep an eye out for that.
One of the things that we love about staying at BLM land is being able to explore right outside our van. And also for JJ, just being able to let him run around and play with the ball, as long as we're staying in a place that doesn't have a lot of other people or other dogs.
What are you doing? She played softball, by the way, in high school, and it went over there.
We also enjoy watching the sunsets out here and the solitude it brings. We also sleep a lot better out here compared to the city because it's so quiet. The next morning, we woke up surrounded by cows.
Alright guys, so now we're gonna check out that peak over there. First of all, yes, I did get a haircut. I'm not shaggy anymore. But anyways, now we want to give you guys a little bit more disadvantages and advantages of staying in the BLM land versus the city. So first of all, some advantages is that staying at a BLM land gives us more privacy, but it's not always the case. There are obviously some BLM lands that are more spread out than others. The ones that are confined to a limited space, we tend to notice that there are a lot more people there, so we don't have that much privacy there. So we tend to look for dispersed camping and BLM land that is big enough for us to find our own spot.
Yeah, and then we did have one weird experience where we were staying at a BLM land that was like very dispersed. Like we were one of the very few people there. There's a ton of places where people could park, and it was, I don't know, maybe 10 o'clock at night, and we had someone pull up literally right behind us. So we were kind of freaked out. We're kind of like, why, out of all the places that you could park here, why would you park right next to us? And we were just more comfortable moving and not having to deal with the situation. So.
Right. We didn't know their intentions. We didn't know if they felt safer being around other people, which we could understand, but we also didn't know if they had bad intentions and wanted to be right next to us to creep up at us during the night. So yeah. We suggest that if you do want to be around other people, you engage them during the day and come up to them when it's light out, and you can talk to them for a bit and see if they're comfortable with that situation.
Right. Yeah. Don't be that person that's
Yeah.
like pulling up in the middle of the night, like right next to someone.
Especially when you can go anywhere.
Right.
It makes you
just
think
weird.
that it's alternative motives there.
Yeah. So that happens sometimes, but overall we've had really good experience at BLM land and being pretty like secluded from people. So it's been good.
Another advantage of staying at a BLM land is that you can make a fire pit and have a fire, which is a lot harder to do when you're staying at a city and sometimes not very legal.
Yeah. A lot of the times that some of the BLM land will have like someone will have already made like the fire pit for you out of rocks and stuff like that, but you could also make your own fire pit too pretty easily.
Right. And if you have a system like ours where you dump things from like your shower and sink, so you only have limited gray water tank, you don't have a black water tank, then we feel comfortable enough dumping anywhere because it's pretty much water that's maybe with soap or shampoo. And if you're staying at a city, it's a lot harder to do that because, well, it just looks bad that you're dumping out in the middle of the street. So that's one of the it just makes it a lot easier to do that at a BLM land.
Right. And we make sure to use biodegradable soaps and everything, so it's being environmentally friendly still. But yeah, like when we're in cities and stuff, we'll often go to like a dump station or a place where we feel a little bit more comfortable dumping, and so it's a lot easier when we're staying out in the middle of nowhere and we don't have to specifically go to the dump station.
Right. So obviously there are disadvantages to staying at a BLM land. For example, if you need good reception, sometimes it could be a hit or miss, but we've learned for what things to look at to make sure that we are in an area that has good reception, since Rachel's jobs depend on it. What we do is try to find areas that are close to major highways and somewhat close to cities. Also, if you're up in the mountains, most likely you're not going to get good reception.
Yeah, and sometimes we've stayed like pretty much right next to like the cell tower and stuff, so we get really good reception there.
That's always an advantage.
Yeah, so it's worked out pretty good. And another disadvantage is obviously like the lack of utilities. So most BLM land doesn't have any utilities. There are some that have water and like trash provided, but you have to pay extra for those. But if you're staying at a free BLM land, most likely you have to leave the campsite, every few days or whatever to refill on things like water, getting food and gas, things like that. So compared to staying in a city, it's just one disadvantage.
Yeah, obviously some BLM lands are closer to some of those utilities, and also for our type of system, that's actually an advantage for us to be able to make that trip every now and then, because we have a dual alternator which charge our batteries. So for us, we look at it as a charging our batteries and taking care of errands at the same time, which 2 birds with 1 stone, right?
Yeah. So one of the other disadvantages of staying at BLM land, is particularly in Arizona from our experience, is the cactuses that are, or cacti, however you say when there's plural, that are around the site. So
the bigger ones are not a problem, but it's when they spread out or break off from the bigger ones and create a landmine pretty much wherever you are.
So with JJ, this can be an issue because he obviously is not aware that these are, dangerous things for him to be around. And so like sometimes we would throw the ball for him and it might bounce in a weird way, and then he ends up getting a bunch of little cactuses stuck on him. And one time, well, this happened a couple times, and one time Jon was able to get it off of him fine. It did get stuck on Jon after, but like it wasn't
that bad,
that big of a deal. He got it out pretty quick. And then another time it got stuck on JJ, and then we tried to take it off and it got stuck in my hand, and it was like, I don't know, maybe 10 what are they called?
Individual spikes
stuck in my hand, and he spent, I don't know, like 30 minutes plucking them out, and it was like literally the most painful experience I've ever had in my life. I was like sobbing. So yeah, that's not fun. Don't recommend doing that. To make sure if you have like a dog, or even for yourself, like to stay away from the cactus. Like, yeah.
Also, another disadvantage of staying at a BLM land is that there's not a lot of, well, there's no lights around, so you have to supply your own lights. Luckily, we have spotlights and a light bar, but especially if you have a dog, you definitely want to make sure to have some sort of light source, so when you let him out during the night, you're able to see your surroundings and make sure that there's no wildlife waiting for you there. So that's definitely another one.
Yeah, we have to be careful with him, especially because the coyotes would like eat him up in one bite.
It'd be a good snack.
But yeah, so overall, those are the advantages and disadvantages that we've found for staying at BLM land.
So obviously there's other disadvantages and advantages that we haven't covered, but that's from our experience and other BLM lands in other states. There's different advantages and disadvantages, but we hope that this gives you an idea of some of the bigger differences.
So overall, we would prefer to stay at a BLM land over a city, just because of the advantages that it gives us.
It definitely outweighs the disadvantages, and we like being around nature and having our own privacy and solitude, so that's really the main separating factor for us. So if you like this video, please hit that like button. If you want to keep seeing us in our journey, please subscribe to our channel. Also, make sure you turn on the notifications so you're notified whenever we release a new video, which we tend to do every Sunday. And we'll see you next time.